What's up, y'all? It's your girl Sang, and today I'm walking around this beautiful neighborhood. So today, what I wanted to talk about, recently I just started school, and I'm not like a full-on college student. I'm not in school. I'm in a certificate program for entrepreneurship, so it's not like 3 months long. Not that deep. I'm taking it because even though I've started businesses in the past and we're kind of running a business as well right now, I figured it'd be interesting to kind of like see if I can learn anything different in terms of how do you properly grow, how do you properly do things on the back end that we've struggled with before. So like, do I need to learn how to do this? Do I need to delegate this off to somebody else? Just, I guess, more insight, you know. So that's really why I wanted to take the course. So, oh, and it's also a entrepreneurship course just for women. So there's no men in the class at all. So the first day of discussion, because it's all online as well, so we literally talk to each other online. And the first day of discussion, they were talking about how has gender played a role in how you set personal or business goals in your life. And I was very thrown off by this because I'm like, I understand this is a women's entrepreneurship course, but why would gender dictate any of that, right? And I didn't get it at all, and I couldn't relate to any of the other women in my class speaking, because they were all just like, oh yeah, it's definitely affected me, and they all gave their reasoning, and then they started some people started throwing race in on top of that, so now you got gender and race. And I was just confused, because I can honestly say when it comes down to goal setting, like creating my own goals and, you know, completing them, I've never once was like, oh, am I going to be able to do this because I'm a girl? I never thought that ever in my life. So I was just confused hearing everybody. Then we get to the second part of class a couple of days later. It's a whole new discussion, but it's still kind of being talked about. It's like the socioeconomic ways of like, how do you view certain things and how have you been affected by certain things due to gender once again. And I'm like, what is this? Why is this like such a heavy focal point for like the first part of this class? You know what I'm saying? So they were talking about it's been written in books, and it was like studies and statistics shown that girls feel less confident than boys because how they were raised and blah blah blah. So that gave me a little bit more insight on why we were talking about this and why other people in the class felt that way. So then the discussion once again was like, has any of these things because of your gender affected you in personal or work life? So once again, I was like, no, it hasn't. And I'm really one of the only ones that keep saying no. So somebody was like, so you mean to tell me you've never dealt with anything due to your gender? Nobody ever looked at you differently because you were a woman. You never got passed up on anything because you were a woman. You never got X, Y, and Z because you're a woman. And I was like, no, that's never, ever happened to me, ever. And I've had a lot of jobs in my short life here on Earth. None of the things have ever happened to me at all. That's why I was so confused. And the more I sat back and thought about it, I really think it's down to how I was personally raised. So when I came up, me and my brother are basically the same age, right? So we always hung out. Because we always hung out, we always did the same things. So obviously, by him being a boy, he was like, I'm playing with action figures and monster trucks and stuff. I was just doing the same thing. Not because like, oh, I guess I have to do this for us to hang. I genuinely liked playing with that stuff. I'm not a girly girl. I would have been what's considered as a tomboy back in the day. I know they got weird pronouns and crap for stuff now, but it's a tomboy, okay? So that's what I was back in the day. I loved playing basketball. I loved playing football, flag football with the boys at recess. I loved playing kickball. And I was good at all of these things. Like, yeah, you hit the playground or the court, you might have the one person be like, oh, I don't want the girl on my team. It's like, I used to be like, that's cool, I don't have to be on your team. I'd be on the opposing team, then I show what I could do, then they'd be like, oh, she kind of nice, I want her on my team next time. Then we cool after that. That's just really all it is. Even for work, I've never dealt with that in the workspace. I know a lot of women be like, oh, pay wage gap differences and blah blah blah. I'm gonna be real with you, I've done a lot of jobs that typically only men do, and I was welcomed in there with open arms, and I made the same amount of money the guys made. So when I straight up be like, I've never experienced anything because of my gender, I really never experienced anything because of my gender. And one of the things they talk about in class, they're just like, you know, one of the social stereotypes of coming up, boys play video games, boys play sports, blah blah blah, they're into computers and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, okay, I did the same stuff growing up. My daycare, you wanna know how I got into computers? My daycare had a computer class. So once you hit like 4 or 5 or something, they automatically put you into the computer program at my daycare. So that's how I got into computers, and I loved it. And then gaming, my mom bought, so this is how old I am. The original Nintendo came out, I think it came out like a year or 2 before I was born. And when I was like 2 or 3 years old, my mom went ahead and bought one because of my cousin, who was a boy. We lived in the same apartment complex, so he would come over a lot because she would watch him. So she was like, this would keep you and her entertained. And she bought that, and he would play it, and I would sit there and watch it. And because obviously I was younger, I was way younger than him, he was like, I'm gonna just teach you how to play so I can have somebody to play with. So I learned from a very young age how to play video games, and I loved it. I was super into it. Same with sports. Like I said, me and my brother, the same age. So we basically have the same friend group, but most of the people in our friend group is guys. So we all used to do the same thing together. When it came down to goal setting and goal making, when I see how they operate and move, and they be like, hey, I'm about to go do this and I'm about to go do that, I'd be like, bet, me too. That's how it was. I was a little hustler. I used to like sell snacks in school. I was always interested in getting money from a very young age. Nothing stopped me. I never once was like, I don't know if I'll be able to do this because I'm a girl. Like, it just never crossed my mind. A lot of stuff I did, women weren't really into them things. So like in high school, I was in the Cisco program. You know what that is? That's dealing with fixing computers and stuff and doing the networking and whatnot. I was the only girl in that class. Like, no girls was doing that. When I was in NJROTC, Naval Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps, that's what that stands for. And they get you ready to go into ROTC in college or the military or whatever it is. There wasn't many girls that did that. And then the ones that did, when it came down to certain activities that was in there, we had the physical fitness team. I was one of the few girls on that, and I was setting records on it. The rifle team, a lot of girls did the one where you carry the flags and carry the rifles. I was on the rifle team that shot the guns. I was the only girl on that team. And I was #1 in our school. I set records doing that. That's what I'm saying. So when they was pressing me in class, like, you can't tell me you've never experienced. No, I didn't. And if I did, I guess I really overlooked it, and it just does not bother me because I don't look at things like that. You know what actually I've dealt with more so coming up than anything? If you want to talk about gender, I dealt with more BS from women than I've ever dealt with from men. Men are cool. And I don't know if I just understand the mindset because I grew up around a lot of guys, but I've never really had issues or problems with men. All of my issues always came from women. So like, that's really what it is. That's not to say like I don't have women friends or whatever. I do. I have women friends, and they're all girly girls, and we're all really cool with each other. Even with me, I've tapped into my feminine stuff. Like, I don't mind. Like, I understand the roles men and women play in relationships and whatnot. Like, I love cooking and cleaning. You know, your house, cleanliness is close to godliness. I can understand now why my mom always wanted the house spotless and everything when I was coming up. I hated doing chores and cooking as a teenager. I love all that as an adult. It's just different now. I don't view it as a chore. I actually love doing these things. It's peaceful. It's nice. Cooking, I love having the extra time now to actually do like crazy like meal recipes and stuff instead of just some basic, oh, here's some spaghetti, here's some chicken. That I had to watch my mom do because she had to work when I was coming up. It's different. Like, I understand the role all that plays. I understand that you have to be the piece to the man when he comes home. I understand all of that very well. So I'm not stupid. I know the roles we play in society and how, like, if we were to get pregnant and have children, how that would like slow us down for a little bit. But in the grand scheme of things, none of that has ever stopped me from creating a goal, completing a goal, or even how I view how I move up in the workplace. A lot of them was talking about how they were fearful moving up into place and being like overlooked for promotions and stuff. It's like, did you talk though? Did you talk? Ever since I've been working, if I wanted to go somewhere or move up in something, I speak. Like, I go straight to the person and be like, hey, how do I get over here? Hey, how do I do this? Hey, how do you get to assistant manager? Hey, how do you get to manager? Hey, that dude's general manager. What's the path you gotta take to get there? Talk. That's all you gotta do. And then that last video I did about quiet quitting, if they want to overlook you and pass you up, move on. You don't have to stay at that company. There's nothing wrong if you put in about 6 months and they're not giving you what you need. It's okay to leave. I understand the generation before us, our parents, was just kind of like, oh, you can't do that. Yes, you can. Psst. I've done it all the time. I've done it plenty of times. So, I don't know. That's just my two. Have y'all ever dealt with that? Any females that watch this? Have y'all ever dealt with that? Because like I said, the only gender issues I've had with people coming up was women. And when I, even in job settings, I probably had 2 jobs where the guys were tripping. And it ain't even that bad compared to how like women trip at jobs. For real, for real. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. Because I'll go, once again, like I said, I've done a lot of jobs that only men do. Because women could do it too. They'll gladly welcome y'all with open arms. Y'all just don't do it. So, I don't know. That's my 2 cents on it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss when I drop videos. I'll be dropping them 2-3 times a day. Unless something happens. So like I said, recently I got a cat. So for 2 days, I didn't drop anything because I had to train the cat not to hop over gates and stuff. He's, I don't know how to explain this. When he wants to cuddle, he is very aggressive with it if he wants to cuddle with you. So it don't matter if a gate is there. He'd be like, nah, F this. And he'll climb, jump over just to get to you to cuddle you. So we had to I had to kind of train him for a second to be like, hey, you can't do this. You can't do this. You're going to destroy my office, bro. Like, but yeah, until next time, you already know who it is. It's Sang.